You're going to get a major revelation. You're going to find out what is the very heart of God, literally what it looks like, where we lived in heaven before we came to earth, why Lucifer said, I am like the Most High, why he has been after you before you came to this world. He has always wanted you. He's always wanted to be like God. You're going to get one of the most amazing mysteries ever shown to me. You're going to get it in its fullness because he keeps showing me more about that. So I tell you what, it'll change the way you think about you and even what's on the inside of you when you get born again. So it's going to be awesome, amazing. This is one of the transports I saw. When you're going to die and go to heaven and stay there, you know, not a near-death experience. People are caught up through portals and all kinds of ways when they visit, and he sends them back. But if you're going to go and you're not coming back, okay, maybe a visit every now and then. I'll talk about that later. No, you're not going to come back down here and live somewhere. Every now and then, God lets some loved one appear to you. It's happened so many times. But you can't live here when you die. Whoever owns you when you die will come for you. Whether it's them or them. They will come and collect what's theirs. So if when you die and you belong to God, you'll either get picked up in a chariot, like Oral Roberts got picked up in the Lord's chariot by the Lord. I saw that happen. He does that to me sometimes too. But either a beautiful transport will come and pick you up. The people who pilot them are not angels. They're the redeemed. When you go home to heaven, you get assignments. And I know somebody that happened to. I didn't know anything about him. But God showed me that he was going to be a transport pilot, and they were actually getting his transport ready, done in all his favorite colors inside. And this thing is amazing. You see from the bottom, about halfway up, you can see all through the universe. When you fly through the universe on the way home to heaven, you see all the nebulas and the star systems that God made. But they're all piloted by people who were believers on this earth. Angels always escort you. This beautiful thing has lights coming from the bottom. Sometimes when people say, I saw a light and it left when they were dying, but they didn't go, they actually saw the bottom of that. Because when it comes and you're about to go, the building kind of disappears where you're at when your spirit leaves your body. You see them coming. The angels are already in your room waiting, but the transport's coming to get you. And this beautiful bright white, almost bright white blue, I call it, light comes from the bottom of this thing, and you see it. And this door opens. There's no apparent door whatsoever. It just opens, and steps just hang suspended in air. And the angels escort you up inside that thing, and you're on the way home to heaven. And a lot of them will turn around and wave goodbye to their loved ones that are there. They'll blow kisses. They're still them. You know, I've seen people do the little thing like that, whatever it is they always did as a growing up. They don't change. You're still you. Even when you die, your spirit inside of you is the real you. And so they take you on the way home to heaven. They go through the universe. They go by all the beautiful planets and the things that God put out there for you to enjoy. You go right through the second heaven and bust holes through it on your way home to heaven. The more you pour out your life on this earth, see, God wants you to know. People always said, I wish I could do something to the enemy. Well, number one, don't belong to him. Don't read his stuff, watch his stuff, listen to his stuff. Don't help the one who wants to kill you. Okay? That's the number one thing you can do. Belong to Christ, but then don't play with the enemy's stuff, because he'll laugh at you. You know, he may not be able to drag you into hell, but he can sure mess up your life the whole time you're here and weaken what God has put on you. But when you pour out your life and surrender it and give it all for him, whatever that is that he asks of you, when you go home, the glory that comes from your being and from that transport, when they pass through the second heaven, it busts huge caverns through the second heaven, and they all know you went home. See, the enemy is kind of not very smart sometimes, because he thinks if I can kill them and get them out of the way, they won't be down here, but they're going to be doing damage on the way home anyway. And Billy Joe Daughtry had just passed through the second heaven about 2 weeks before Oral Roberts. If you don't know who he is, he has like a 12,000 member church. He was raised up under Oral Roberts. He was like a second son to him. and really loved God, poured out his life for his people, and it was his time to go. He had an assignment for him in heaven. Y'all going to learn about that. Heaven does not look at death like we do. It is a celebration. It is a time to rejoice when a believer dies. And when you're a believer and you leave this world, you do not taste death. Death has torment, okay? So if your loved one was a believer and they died, they never tasted death. They departed. You die, you depart. If you're a sinner and you die, you go to hell and taste death. It's torment. It's agony. You suffer. A believer, the second their spirit leaves their body, will never know what suffering is. They will experience joy, gladness, the presence of God, caught up in the glory, already permeating every part of their being, and they don't like to leave you, but let me tell you, they don't want to come back. They're in the presence of the God who created them, their Father. They're up there with Jesus, walking down the streets of gold, the places that he made for them. You are captivated by his love. And if you ever look in his eyes and you go to heaven, you are not coming back. Unless he makes you. You won't come back. You can't. You can't. You don't ever want to live outside of his presence. You don't ever want to leave him or be away from him. And no matter where you are in heaven, you are in his presence. Even if you're not in the throne room. People go, I don't want to ever leave the throne room. They'll make you. Eventually. Because he made amazing things for you to bless you with, to reward you with. And if you were a father and you bought gifts for your kids, you'd be real disappointed if they never opened them, wouldn't you? Your daddy in heaven is the same way. He has amazing things to give you up there, places he created for you to go and enjoy. He wants you to go have fun. You can't get holy when you go to heaven. And the problem with the religious people is they think you got to keep doing it the whole time. You're not going to get there if you're not holy. They don't have holy classes in heaven. There's nothing you can give up, sacrifice, or take out of your life when you get there that's going to make you any more holy. So you don't go there to be holy. You go there because you are. You go to heaven to have fun. You go home to heaven to be with your Father, to be with Jesus, to be with your family and friends, and really begin to live for the first time in your life. Life comes from heaven. If your body was dead, that's a good thing. I'm sorry. But if you're a believer and your body's dead, that's a good thing to be, because then you will be with the Lord. It's not a sad thing in heaven. They don't cry. They don't get upset. They have a party. And your party's been planned for some time because they know the exact moment. It isn't going to be too early. People go, they left early. No, they didn't. Because he was ready for them. They didn't put him in the Holiday Inn in heaven somewhere because they came by surprise. He knew the day they would come, and sometimes he allows them to come home because things are going on in heaven that open positions, and he will refuse to give it to anyone else. So if you wonder why someone who really loved God and gave and loved people, and they're just gone, you think they left early, they were only 29, they were 39, they were 49, they all went early. No, they didn't. You need to trust him. You need to celebrate that forever and all eternity you all will be together. And if he had something he wanted to give them, he chose to let them come home early, because the devil can't kill people and send them out. Not if they're believers. Jesus has the ultimate decision, because he has what? The keys to hell, death, and the grave. So he decides, ultimately, the end decision, no matter what the age of the person is, ultimately, he makes a decision who comes, because he has the keys. So the devil